That was just, there we go. I was waiting for the recording message. Okay, here we are, everybody. Happy New Year. Let's start off with the approval of the December minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I only saw one mistake in there. I don't have it in front of me, but at one point it says DEP instead of DEEP.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. What did you do, Joanne?
Well, yeah, now that you mention it, I did see that, but I don't remember where. Oh, yeah, right at the top of the second page.
Yeah, under
Connect.
7-1.
Yeah, 7.1 says CTDEP.
Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my job.
Got to back each other up, Joe.
We all work together, Joe.
Oh,
And if you want to be chair, you could take my job.
No. I like being proofreader. That's good enough.
That's my job. I'm proofreader. Okay, we got a second, right?
Not yet. I just want to make the correction. I'll then second it with that correction noted.
Okay. Any more discussion on the minutes? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Yay. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay.
I
Minutes are
think I have
accepted.
to abstain because I wasn't there, but I do
Yes.
support the corrections.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Reports. We got some extra sheets this month, Joe.
Yeah. But I just went right to the third page to find out what our available budget is, and at the moment, our available budget is $21,606.
Yeah, the extra pages were, I don't know, July to September or something.
Yeah.
So I
just
put
went
those
right-
aside. So, okay, and everybody got the report in their email, right?
Yep.
All right, and as for me, yeah, I've been a little lax. That December was so busy and lots of illness in the family, and January started off a little rough too, but I did manage to visit Thompson Pizza Company.
Oh, did you?
I did. And wanted to talk to Dino. I did leave a sheet telling them about the TBA, which he already knows about because Woodstock, the Woodstock facility is in the TBA. And Brian Lafredo had mentioned, whether or not they would be interested in a ribbon cutting. So anyway, it was just, somebody on the register that I did talk to.
When
And
did they actually open? I stopped by there a week or 10 days ago and it was still not lit.
it was last Tuesday, I think, Charlie.
Okay,
And I went in Wednesday.
okay.
And we did order food. Over the weekend, my wife and me and one of the daughters, we liked the pizzas. We tried the grinders. And of course, I feel bad because we have the other pizza houses.
Yeah, well, they knew that when they acquired the property. It's
I
not
don't
like,
want to. I wish it was a different business there, but I thought it was very good. Yeah.
well, we'll give them a try.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, everybody's tastes are different, but what we had was good. Also been corresponding with Turtle Rock Memorial High School. We're trying to line up speakers for their Pathways program. They're looking for specific speakers for entrepreneurship, culinary and hospitality, finance, health, and engineering. And unfortunately, I missed the TBA meeting last week because I was at the hospital with my wife and didn't get to talk to people as a group. I'll be sending out separate emails to try to get some people together. And if we can't get them in time, Dan and I had talked about going in jointly and talking about entrepreneurship.
Is your wife okay, Brian? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was 3 days at the hospital, but yeah, not life. Well, she had a gallbladder attack and then an appendix attack, and they ended up
Oh,
taking out the appendix.
wow.
Most of the ordeal now, Bry, is being at the hospital. It's hurry up and wait and sit in the hall for 4 hours and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but no, she's actually doing really well right now. Um, anyway, the other thing, we did have a Maker Faire meeting this week. Uh, Lafredo and I attended, so we're gonna have monthly meetings on that and try to stay on top of things for the May Maker Faire. And that's what I have. So moving on to update on businesses. As I said, Thompson Pizza Company is open. I didn't get any adoption of trade names, but got a notice of application for a cigarette dealer retailer license.
Hmm.
Govind Patel. And looking at the address, it's that building right next to Carl's Power Equipment in Quinnebog.
Yeah, I saw something about that, that there was some kind of tobacco or vaping thing moving in there, which is
Yeah.
near the
seem to
liquor
remember
store, near
seeing
another
something at the-
vaping place.
I
Yeah,
remember
but
seeing
pretty sure
some,
it's a vape shop.
Yeah, it is.
I thought I
Yeah, I
saw
think
a
vapor
specialty
tattoo, it's
cigar
tattoo.
shop.
It's a tattoo shop now,
It
or
was.
was.
No, it was, it's in the location where there was one.
Yes.
Okay.
And so now
Yeah,
it
that
is
building.
a vape shop of some kind.
Okay. So anyway, that's all I got for that. Looking at, part of what we're doing is follow up. Closed out the year, there were 17 adoption of trade name applications in 2024. Comparing to 2023, we had 30. So about half of the adoption of trade name apps, and there are 21 in 2022. I mean, I don't know. I did notice that I'm not getting the full information because I never got an opening for Crossroads and I never got a closing for Pit Stop. So, if we didn't know about those, I didn't get any paperwork on it. So I don't know what else could have closed that we don't know about.
You said Drafters was about to close, or someone said?
Hereafter's, yeah, it's February 9th. They're gonna do a Super Bowl party and that's it. And there's no
Really?
other information online.
Why? Is it not good?
Well, the owner is not there. She's running her father's construction company. She hasn't been there it's gonna be close to a year.
Okay.
So the cook and the staff has been running the place, but I don't know if it got sold. If somebody wanted a turnkey business, they could have bought it and kept drafters open. If somebody wants that building and the land for something else, then drafters gets shut down. So I don't know what the situation is, except they announced that they're closing.
Yeah, even Levency hadn't been told about it, and they run pickleball tournaments in that building.
Right, yeah, Amanda mentioned that too.
Is all the land behind that the town's property that goes down
No.
to the river?
Yeah, it has I think it's like 3/4 of an acre for the lot. The rest of it is town land, yeah.
I've always
Oh.
seen that as like a great place for like music, for like events. So
Yeah.
it's a natural amphitheater going downhill. If you had a stage at the bottom, you could have events there. But anyway,
The only drawback is parking. By the time you get enough, people are gonna come in cars, 1 and 2 people in the car on most occasions. And by the time you get enough people to fill that space, you gotta fill it up with their cars.
Yeah, right.
And I think that may have been something that the people that are running that have been running that as a venue of that type probably discovered it. Parking is a problem. There's municipal parking, and it's not a bad walk.
oh, because you can take the trail.
You can
Yeah.
take the trail.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the
That's
parking's
something
been
that
fine, I
has,
think, for the restaurant, but if they wanted outdoor things, then they'd run into issues. Because that
yeah,
lot is a
well,
good size for the size of the building.
especially if they need the town's land to do it on.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be some sort of cooperative uh, Thompson Cultural Arts or Performing Arts uh, Association that we could start up as part of this organization to foster that. It's watered down the dam now, but
yeah, I'll try to find out more and let you know.
there's a bigger
Uh,
issue there, and it hasn't been spoken of in a while, but the condition of that dam represents a serious potential loss for residents of the town.
Yeah, but
It
that's not
it
related
is
to,
leaking, it is deteriorating. And those gears that are up there, if they were made to work, that would really enhance what the guy wants to do at the mill when he does whatever he's going to do at the mill.
yeah. It's still, yeah, not directly related to the opening and closing of this. Um, we also see Sweet Jane's closed on Thompson Road. And I told you last month that she was gonna close.
Yep, and she did.
Um,
I don't know if she still must have business inside there, but it is for rent.
yeah, I mean, she was gonna shut down completely, but it's not her building.
Yeah, right.
The other business news I have, down at the Fort Hill Farms, they have the farmer's porch on O'Leary Road,
Mhm.
and there's a little shed there. She's taking other vendors. Crummy Creations is there, drops off breads and baked goods every Wednesday, and you can go and pick stuff up, and it's an honor system. Leave money in a thing hanging on the wall. There's also local honey. There's milk and some dairy products in a cooler. So that's part of Kristen, or stretching out some and inviting other businesses in. I went down there today and talked to Kristen a little bit.
And the Boston, what do you call it? Boston beef? New Boston
New
beef?
Boston beef?
A lot. They started up their kitchen, their cooking lessons there.
Yeah, I'm meaning to go talk to them too, because
That's a
yeah, it's nice that,
culinary thing to tie into the educational program you spoke of earlier.
yeah. And it's nice that people like that, they're expanding their business within Thompson. So it should be recognized. Um,
We do have machine shops. We probably have somebody that could talk to them about engineering. There's still several viable machine shops in town.
yeah, I'll see what I can dig up through TBA and
Yeah.
at least get it started. They gave me some dates. What they did, they polled the kids and said, what do you want to hear? So that's us collaborating with TMHS,
Do you
which
have
we
a list
like to
of
do.
topics?
Huh?
Hey, do you have the list of topics that they want?
Yeah, like I said, it's entrepreneurship, which I told you about.
Yeah.
It's culinary and hospitality. I was thinking of Holiday Inn. Finance, which we have people. Health and engineering. Those are the topics the kids picked.
Culinary, you've got Anya's and hospitality with their William Mason House, and you've got that aspect of culinary that's more relatable.
Yeah.
You
Well,
also
again, I'm
might
going to look
want to,
at,
you might want to talk to Andrew at Lord Thompson Manor about hospitality. I mean, I know you were thinking of the Holiday Inn folks because they're TBA members, but that's a national or international franchise situation. I mean, in terms of something scalable,
yeah,
the
yeah,
scale of Lord Thompson Manor, or there's the wedding venue on what is that, West Thompson Road that goes up the
West Thompson
dam?
Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they call
But
themselves Pinecroft or something.
these are all local and they all make sense. The tie-in to Holiday Inn with a franchise makes sense as well. When you mentioned, you just mentioned it to Daniel there when you were talking about them, a culinary popped right into my mind with those guys. You're
Yeah,
not going
and
to get much
Cullen,
better than Anya's.
even in the TBA, we have the restaurant, we have Max, which is a real restaurant, not just a pizza house. But yeah, I'll get on that and update. But actually, Tira, I think Andrew would be good, and I think he would be interesting and interested. So I'll
Yeah,
talk to him
he's
first.
a very engaging person and presenter. I think he'd be very relatable,
Yeah,
assuming
and
he's available, obviously.
yeah, but they have several dates available, so if he's interested, we can align something for him. So I made a note to, I'll talk to Andrew first. I like that idea.
You also said engineering, that I remember hearing that one, but
Yeah,
were those all of them? Hospitality, culinary, entrepreneur, engineering.
Health,
It seemed like
yeah,
there was one
and
more.
finance,
Finance.
finance.
health.
But we
Wow,
have
finance is
citizens,
so important for them to learn, and they're not
yeah,
teaching it right.
but Citizens Bank would be happy to go up there, or Sandy Lanasa with her own,
Hometown bank.
accounting company, or so that one. I bet Citizens would jump on that because they're so good at contributing to the community. So it's just a matter of aligning this up to suit the kids' needs. So, like I said, I'll keep you updated on that. It's nice that they're keeping us involved. TBA membership, we're 71, same as last month. We also held the TBA elections and installations last Wednesday. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have to, the website hasn't been updated. Dan is still president and I'm still VP of membership.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'll have to mention that to Jody. A lot of stuff has been changing already, but
So
Yeah, I just noticed that.
you're staying president, Dan? Nick didn't get it?
no, I'm not. Nick is president. Yep.
Yeah, I was just saying the website hasn't been updated. So Nick is president and Megan from Citizens is taking over as treasurer. Did we get a
Just
secretary?
for whatever it's worth, you keep saying citizens when you mean bank hometown.
Yes, I do.
I
It's
thought.
okay.
There was Citizens for so long, and Citizens also was very involved since the very first day of the TBA. But yes, it's Bank Hometown. But yes, very involved. Sorry.
Yeah, there's
Lynn will erase that from the minutes.
it's Nick Donahue, Zach Labonte, Megan Berkery from the bank, and Jody and Allie. The five new board members, and they're going to restructure the layout of that, soon. So they'll all have their titles figured out exactly. But it's Nick is president, Zach is VP, Megan's treasurer, and then really Allie and Jody are going to be like promotion and marketing and stuff.
So
We really need a secretary, though.
neither of you two are on the board anymore then?
Right.
Right.
We'll still be involved, and I'll still be involved as, liaison to pathways, liaison to EDC, just without a title. And Dan plans to still be involved.
Oh yeah.
See,
So
Dan
letting
always,
some new people run with it.
That's
Dan's always
important. I'm glad you're able to do that. Too many people hold on a little bit too long, and
Yeah,
you did
but I
well.
also
Hey.
want to say, I told Dan too, I think he did a great job over
Yes,
the
he
last
did.
3 years at expanding it and improving it. And I told Dan this already, but I want people to know that he
Thank you.
stepped down because he was ready to step down, not because of any issues.
Right. It was time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Charlie said, he recognized that it's time, and we have a energetic group. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Also, the winter mixer is January 28th at Prestige Salon in Webster. Again, we're inviting, whoever wants to go. I know Lafredo tries to make it when he's not touring the country or something.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna be good, I think. Every time I've ever been to a mixer, whether it was ours or she does them all the time, she does them with the WDBA. It's always a good turnout of people there. It's a great place if you've never been there to check it out. The theme is warm and fuzzy winter theme, and she's getting different soups from different restaurants all over town to serve that night. So
Oh, nice.
should
What
be
time
good.
is that gonna be? 5, 6?
5 to 7.
5:30. It says 5:30 on the website. So I assume we're still going to do the meet up at 5 and the official thing starts at 5:30.
It's 5 to 7 as far as I know. I'll have to check and make sure that's not being put up there wrong, or unless somebody wanted it to be 5:30 for some reason and I just missed it. I don't know.
The website says 5:30. But I assume that's like our TBA meetings officially start at 5:30. But
Open net. Yeah.
the open networking is at 5. I figured that's what they meant. The other notice here, I promised last month I would put on the agenda reviewing the TBA budget request. I'm kind of inclined to see how the new board shakes out in TBA. And when Megan takes a look at finances and things, but it's on here if we want to discuss it.
Well, wow. I know it got brought up, or it was supposed to get brought up at that other meeting I couldn't be at on December 20th. So how did
Well,
that?
that was about an RFP for marketing.
Oh, so you never talked about that?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't disagree. I'm not president anymore, so I don't disagree that it shouldn't, wait a little bit, but I still do, even as a member of EDC, I think that it's a great idea, and I totally support it for sure. So I don't want to just let it slip away.
So you
Yeah,
see,
that's
no,
why.
I
Yeah,
have to say when I was looking at that on the agenda, I actually sort of I sort of elided that in my mind with discussion of your upcoming fiscal year budget.
yeah.
Uh, I had copied you on what I sent over as a draft to Steglitz, um,
I didn't
which
see that.
it was last week, so I guess that explains why it didn't make it on the agenda or why we haven't spoken about it
Yeah.
since.
If it was
Uh,
last week and I was at the hospital for most of the 3 days, it probably got
right,
buried in emails.
right. So it probably did, and I don't, and I didn't even make that connection until just now when you reminded us of that. So I will tell you that in the draft, I did not change the total amount of the budget at all. I did propose just moving some things around. I don't think that there's going to be a need, for example, in the coming year for airline trail project expenses while the construction's going on at Trainwreck Park. So I moved that up into the general, where that $10,000 budget line item has been that you'll be using for your implementation in this fiscal year,
Yeah.
with the assumption that moving forward, that's going to be a continuing expense to some kind of vendor. So instead of having, 10,000 general project dollars in that line and then whatever it was, the 5,000 in uh, airline trail expenses, uh, I combined the two. So the total amount has not gone up, just the allocation, but you and I should talk about that. And I should have made the connection that you were in the hospital with your wife a bunch last week. I would have followed up with you today. Um, but when I read it on the agenda. So anyway, you may want to modify your agenda to discuss that tonight, but that's up to you. Right now, I'm scheduled to present on behalf of my office and EDC on February 20th, which is the day after the February regular meeting of the EDC.
Okay.
So we do have time.
Yeah, I'll get down and talk to you and we can look at it and then update at the February meeting and yeah, do it that way.
Okay.
If I may, on this, I
Yes.
heard, yes, the train wreck park area is getting to a point where our involvement, our dollars are going to be less. But we've got other sites along the airline trail that I don't want us as EDC to lose sight of. Somewhere, combine it in the budget for expenditures for what we need most, but don't lose sight of the fact that we've got other areas along there that nobody else is going to be able to undertake. The state just doesn't seem to have a vision for it. They don't have involvement in bringing the towns in yet, and they don't have it on their tip list this year anyway. But it's coming up. I went up there, I looked at part of what was done, and it's shocking when you first see it, but I'll be back up that way tomorrow and look at it some more. It's a work in progress, and it certainly needs to be done. But if we didn't take the initiative with this group, what we're seeing getting done up there would not be at all.
Well, what is it that you saw?
Anybody that's been involved on the Trails Committee knows that the response from Hartford has been that. It was us pushing it forward that got it done.
Well, what's missing now? What is
Well, the next area that we should be looking at, if we're going to continue the theme, is where the Thompson Hill train station was, or where the one down at Mechanicsville, or access for park rest stops, rest benches. We've been talking about this at Trails Committee. We don't have the wherewithal either, but combining like we have for the bicycle repair station and for other projects. The committee has not really looked beyond what we've done so far. We've been focused on that, or we've been dealing with COVID, and we've been dealing with changes in personnel outside of this area. And the thought that might easily come into our minds is, hey, we're done. But we're not done. We've got a lot more that we can do as a town that nobody at the state level has been bringing it forward. I've been following posts about trails throughout the state and throughout the country. And I know that so far, this trail hasn't received that kind of focus. It shouldn't be at 2025. They don't have a agreement that says the towns will do this, the state will do that. The money will come from the federal government through the state to the towns. They should have all that. They don't. There's a disconnect. So if we see this as an economic driver for the town, and we've said that repeatedly, the logical next step is, where else can we go along the trail? Ryan will tell you about a little bridge between his house and mine that is really not safe for horses to be on, but the state hasn't even talked to us about it. There's, we find erosion problems. They say it's not our fault, and they walk away.
Well,
We've
Charlie,
got to
I
find.
don't know if you watched the meeting that we had with them, the video that I think is available. And they did do a lot of study into the erosion. They are taking ownership, but it's not the DOT,
I
it's
don't
the
know. I must have been,
DEP, and yes, they still have issues with personnel and budgeting, but they are working with us now that it's been brought to their attention. And yes, it's a lot slower than we'd like, but we do have their attention, and I think with the task force as well, there's more attention being given to it. But I think this is more of a trails issue right now than an EDC issue. But if we have some specific plans that we want to work with in trails to bring to EDC, I think that's when you and I bring it to Brian and we present it here.
yeah, I just don't want combine it in, combine that 5,000 and 5,000 in, because it gives us more flexibility to move projects as we see fit. But don't lose sight of it.
Right.
And
No,
it may be, it
we
may
don't
be
want
a
to lose
couple months
sight, but we
before-
only have so much to work with when, there
Understood.
is a lot going on. But yeah, when there's an issue, we talk about park benches and things. We can talk about specifics like where you think they should go, who's been notified. I personally, I haven't thought about it, so it wouldn't be on my radar.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Um,
Another thing I think that EDC should champion is outdoor art. Instead of just taggers, actual art. I've seen that done in areas and it's marvelous. And the opportunity for us to help pay for the costs for these artists is something we should look at.
That's another thing that's being done in almost all the towns around us.
Mhm.
In a
Yeah.
lot of places it is. We
Yeah.
haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But that's the point that I'm making is I don't want this, I don't want us as a commission to say, well, we got the train wreck park, we're done with the airline trail. Because there's a lot more that can and should be done to enhance accessibility between the trail and the businesses of town. And between the end of our trail and the trail in Pomfret, where right now there's a lot of hurry up and wait, trying to figure it out there too.
yeah, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, Charlie.
I know, I just didn't want
No
us
matter
to,
what we look at.
I just wanted to make sure that we took a few moments to discuss this. I've been wrong before, but I think my understanding from this commission is that it's an asset we want to help develop, and I don't want us to
Yeah.
do anything that would lose sight of that.
You're right. No, when we looked at our strengths over the years, the trails and all of the outside stuff is a big part of that. So you're right on that.
Yeah. Making it attractive for the visitors that come through. That's making it
Yeah.
safer. Those are
Yeah,
things.
and I think of that as, our commission has worked on marketing. I think of that every time I drive down Riverside. How does it look? How would it look if you were coming from Massachusetts or,
Curb
Woodstock?
appeal. Joanne will know all about that. The curb, what does it look like when people drive by and look at it?
Yeah. And that's part of our marketing. If we see something that comes up that would be especially a simple fix, um, good to bring it up, something we can get, say, big bang for the buck, make it more attractive, even just driving through. But yeah, you're right. The trails are important. We won't lose sight, but right now, Trainwreck Park, we have a lot going on. There's money allotted. They'll get back to work in the spring, and we'll keep looking at other stuff. Okay. The only old business I have was the open slot for EDC alternate. Nobody's heard anything from any potentials, I take it. Because we brought it up at TBA also, and the people who volunteer are already volunteering a lot. So we're down to progress reports. I don't know if, Chira, you don't have much going for grants right now, right?
Well, I've always got stuff going. I mean, we may as well start with where we are with the DEAP grant for Trainwreck Park.
Okay.
They are still working. So we'll start there because you'd said they'll be back in the spring. Until they are actually actively shut down by the weather, they are going to continue working. And as far as I'm aware, they are still out there now. So unless we get like major
Okay.
snow cover,
Yeah.
they're going to continue with the site prep. At some point they will get to where they can't go any further without paving in the parking area. At that point, they would shut down and then come back after the asphalt places come up.
Okay,
Um,
I apologize. I thought they had stopped for the season.
well, it's a fair assumption because who's working outdoors doing construction? But he has been assuring me all along, the project manager, that they will keep chugging along there until they get to until they get real weather shutting them down, or until they get to that point where they have to come back to pave when it's warmer. Just filed a quarterly reimbursement on that, and I did work it out with DEEP that I'm going to directly invoice on a monthly basis to them because we've already gone through our ARPA match. So I'll be submitting the contractor's invoices directly to DEP. They will send us the funds and then I will pay. So I'll be a little bit behind the pay cycle with them, but that'll get caught up quickly once I get the first of those. Just sent in a closing draft on the original $240,000 award for the reno on 65 Main. Obviously, as everybody here knows, the funded activities to date wrapped up when Flawless did the exterior painting. Um, there's a little more in-kind labor that's going to go on there. Brian Santos ordered a custom exterior door for that basement area where the foundation got repaired, and he and his son are planning on installing that as an in-kind labor contribution. But then the work there won't proceed until we get all of our assistance agreements in place with DECD for the 4 million for the Main Street reconstruction and all those related activities. So that's obviously Main Street itself, the interior renovation on 65 Main, and the Swanson Park stuff. I think most of the people here were at the presentation on the master plan for that, where the engineer from Freeman Company presented, showed the preliminary designs for the reconfiguration of the intersection with Main Street and Riverside Drive, the northern intersection, to try to prevent traffic from flying straight southbound from Route 12 onto Main. Working with Janet and Mizrac, we're expanding the scope of what we're doing off Main Street a little bit to add either a complete project or prep for a later project for some low impact development and green stormwater management in that area, specifically around Duhamel Park. The pervious pavers that previously had been planned for the library, but by ECCD, but for reasons not worth going into, didn't get completed. A limited amount of replacement of invasive shrubs around the library, and then possibly some tree filters down in River Mill Village. So those things all kind of tie together. The director of the program at DECD emailed me today to say she's assigning me a project manager tomorrow, which means I should get an assistance agreement, at least in draft, soon. And unlike the assistance agreement for the River Mill, which we're still working on, this one should go fairly quickly because we are in control of all the properties. So it's a much more straightforward, even though it's more money, it's a more straightforward contract. So hoping to get all that stuff tidied up soon. And then I am working with Eastern Connecticut Conservation District and mostly Janet, but Mizrac, to some ECCD is going to submit on our behalf a grant under the 319 non-point source pollution grant program to actually do the stormwater management stuff around Duhamel Pond at the library and in River Mill Village. And we hope that that will be a successful grant operation and we'll be able to expand the scope of what we're doing to renovate down in that area. I think that's my grants update. Oh, and I'm still working on the master plan for the planning grant for 65 Main. I've been kind of sluggishly going through a draft of that. What I'm really waiting on to really kick into high gear on that in this last now 2.5 months before I have to deliver that is the actual site plan and design for all of the permaculture park. That's being subcontracted out through John Guskowski's company to Barton and Logodish, so that we'll have actual construction-ready designs at the end of the USDA planning grant process. That's what I got.
Thank you. Joe, you have a real estate update?
Yep, it's fairly similar to last month's, actually. There, for as far as commercial properties, there's still 8 for sale. They're the same ones that were for sale last month. There's one business for sale. There's 4 commercial rentals and 3 commercial properties for sale. The only one that went under deposit was the Riverside, the daycare on Riverside Drive. That was available a month ago, and that did go under contract. The one by the condos.
Yeah.
So, in the commercial rentals, one of them is that Sue's gift shop that you mentioned, Brian. So
Yeah,
that's
Sweet Jane's.
Yes, Sweet Jane's, I'm sorry. That's available for rent, as well as the building behind it, that great big,
Right.
huge commercial vacant empty building. That's available for rent. So nothing really has changed in the commercial aspect, and as far as any single-family rental units there are, or multiple units, there are no rentals in the town of Thompson at all. And as far as sales go, there are 12 units for sale in the town of Thompson. 3 are condos, 1's a mobile home, and there are 8 homes for sale in the town of Thompson. 5 of which are under $500,000. I never thought I would say those numbers regarding real estate in Thompson, but that's what it is. And there are 3 over $500,000. So 3 houses to choose from in Thompson. I got.
Okay. Yeah, I wish that we had more storefront stuff along Riverside or Main Street, but
Yeah, and all of the commercial properties are on Riverside except for
the one on Thompson Road.
correct. Yeah, so all the addresses are Riverside and Thompson Road, and of course the Crossroads, that's still for sale. G7 is still for sale, and the cannabis building is still for sale. I call it the cannabis building. That's why it was originally built.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we know what you mean.
That one there. So that's it for commercial properties.
Okay.
G7 is for sale, or are they just moving?
Oh,
You said G7 is for sale.
yep. Oh, it was last month. It's been for sale for 2 months.
They're just looking for a new location.
Don't know the reason for their for sale. The business is for sale, and
Oh, the
property-
business is for sale. Okay.
No. The business is for sale as a separate listing, and the real estate property is a separate listing. So they have 2 listings.
Oh,
I believe she's planning to retire, or at least from that.
Probably. But yeah, it's been for sale for almost 2 months now.
oh, yeah, I didn't realize that.
I said it last month, but I guess I kind of went over it kind of quickly. I did say G7 was for sale.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Continuing with plan for marketing revitalization. First of all, I was looking at that 4-page thing that I had put together a couple months ago, just to see if we're touching on anything. And the very first one was establishing key performance indicators, tracking and reporting Thompson's commercial vacancies and number of closed versus new businesses, and we are doing that. Focusing on business development in the main corridors, and we're doing that. One of the things was presenting awards for business record recognition, which we do the annual business of the year, and we can talk about longevity awards if we think it's a good idea to gather some data and do something at Community Day. Document town processes for business registration. I do want to tackle that one. Business registration, permitting, licensing. See what we have in place, see if there's any way we can streamline it. I'll try to have something to report in February. Reaching out to businesses and commercial real estate professionals. And we are attending the Northeast Commercial Realtors meetings. Tira is, I have been, I missed the last two.
I also missed the
Oh.
last one, because I had a conflicting event for the tourism district.
Yeah,
Um,
Stu told me you were gonna miss it, or he thought, because he went to the same meeting.
yeah, I saw him there.
Yeah,
At the risk of being interruptive, may I recommend that you guys actually take the time to look at that RFP, which is sort of your pressing piece of this marketing plan right now?
yeah, okay. Um, yeah, do you want to put it up?
Yeah, I can do that. Give me a second. I need to find my right tab here. And
I did print it out. I took out the stuff that was crossed out to make it easier to read.
yeah, I actually did an accept all the changes here. I decided it wasn't really that useful for you to see it in red line and just to look at the completed. So we
Can
can
I
approach
ask a
this.
quick, can I ask a quick question? Do we need to do any kind of motion to get it on the agenda because it wasn't on the agenda? Or are we
Well,
okay with it just
It is,
going?
it's part of the marketing of Main
Oh,
Street.
okay. Okay, thank you.
No worries, Lynn.
No, it's good to ask, but that I did consider it as a part of that agenda item.
So we can approach this however you want. I can read it aloud through it. People can make comments. I can edit into it. That's kind of the way we do stuff like this when we do P and Z subcommittee meetings, when we're talking about regulation edits. Maybe you like it as presented. I don't know how much time people have had to look at it since I sent it over this morning, a day later than I wanted to.
Yeah, for the most part, I like it, but I'm easy to please.
Well, I just
Because
want to be sure that I'm capturing, what you envision as going on under this implementation
Yeah.
contract.
Well, let's like you said, let's take a sec, let's look at the introduction, see if we have comments.
All right, so I'll read through it and you guys interrupt, and as you want me to either make edits or make notes in sidebar, I can do that. Town of Thompson Economic Development Commission request for proposals, municipal marketing plan implementation. Introduction. The Town of Thompson Economic Development Commission, EDC, is requesting proposals to execute the marketing campaign for the Downtown Mill Rehabilitation District, DMRD, and Thompson Corridor Development District, TCDD, which was developed for the EDC in 2024. Implementation of the plan will promote these districts as a viable business development investment for potential new and established businesses. The DMRD and TCDD correspond to Main Street, Route 12, and Route 131 within the town. We seek a qualified marketing professional or marketing team to use the 2024 marketing plan to activate a comprehensive campaign that includes website optimization with regular updates, social media management, and data collection to gauge effectiveness of campaign efforts. How do you guys feel about that introduction? Does that capture what you want this to accomplish?
I thought it did. What do you guys think?
Well, absolutely. Sounds great.
Yeah, I like it.
I read it earlier today and the whole thing sounded great to me.
Yeah, and that's what
right.
I was saying, Bry.
Sounds
Okay,
to me like
objectives.
what we were asking for the last time,
Well, there's a reason for that.
because that's what the guy put together the plan, and now we want somebody to implement it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I knew it sounded familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is directly modified over the prior RFP. I did also send around the RFP we used for the tourism district's marketing partner, but that is based off a $150,000 contract. So
Yeah, I saw that $150,000 to $180,000 budget.
right, but I thought it would be interesting to see the kinds of things that the district looks for in implementation of their marketing.
Yeah.
So objectives. The objective of the marketing campaign is to optimize and utilize existing town online platforms to build awareness of the DMRD and TCDD in Thompson in the greater regional business community via strategic marketing using digital, print, and other means for the purpose of attracting businesses to relocate or start up in the corridor. Further build specific awareness of the Thompson, Connecticut Find Your Way municipal brand by incorporating it into any materials developed for and deployed in this campaign. Measure the effectiveness of the campaign using industry standard tools. For example, Meta Insights, Hootsuite, online survey tools, and adjust the campaign as needed. Scope of work. The selected vendor will be required to provide the following services. Using the materials developed in the 2024 marketing plan, build out the EDC page of the Town of Thompson website to create a meaningful information hub for users. Utility for business owners or developers is of prime importance. The EDC webpage is to be updated on a regular schedule to be determined in consultation with the Commission. The 2024 marketing plan and related assets will be posted as attachments to this RFP to assist interested bidders in preparing their proposals. Develop and implement a campaign using the framework of the 2024 plan to use the town's social media pages to dovetail with the optimized EDC webpage and promote economic development opportunities and successes within the town. Provide updates to the EDC at their monthly meetings. Such updates are expected to include ongoing reporting on campaign metrics, as well as recommendations to optimize the continued effectiveness of the marketing plan. EDC meetings occur on the third Wednesday of each month, 6:30 to 8 p.m. online via Zoom. Budget. The total budget must incorporate all elements of the scope of work described above, with cost breakouts shown for each discrete item. The Economic Development Commission reserves the right to request additional budget detail for clarification of the proposed services. The Commission also reserves the right to exclude any elements of the plan based on available budget. Proposal content. Provide the following information in your proposal to better provide us with insight into the capabilities, capacity, and philosophy of you or your team. Describe your qualifications. Provide resumes for each individual who will be working on the project. If more than one person will be working on the project, describe the role of each team member. Briefly describe your marketing branding philosophy. Describe your approach to communication and evaluation. Describe how you manage client input and other communication. Describe how you evaluate the success of a campaign. What tools do you use to track performance? How is that related to the client? Propose a time frame and pricing. Indicate all phases of work in a timeline. Provide the overall total cost for all services provided and specific breakdowns per phase or deliverable. References include a relevant client list related to brand development and marketing and the number of years you have worked with them. Provide 3 relevant references that can speak comprehensively about your professional services. Proposal submissions. Send proposals via email to Tara Penn Gessick, Director of Planning and Development, on or before 2 p.m. on Friday, the 14th of February, 2025. All eligible proposals will be reviewed by the members of the EDC and their advisory staff. All vendors submitting proposals will be notified via email regarding the final selection. The committee reserves, commission, you're a commission, not a committee.
Good catch.
The commission reserves the right to an in-person or virtual interview with any candidate or candidates. Please contact yada, yada, yada. Town of Thompson is an equal opportunity employer. Mibby Wibby Dibby vendors are encouraged to apply. Before you even ask, that's minority business enterprise, women-owned business enterprise, and disabled-owned business enterprise are encouraged to apply. Evaluation of proposals. Proposals will be evaluated on the following criteria: demonstrated understanding of the scope described in this RFP, demonstrated success with prior clients as expressed in measurable data, aesthetic appeal of prior branding or marketing campaigns, clarity and comprehensiveness of the proposed timeline and any phasing, cost structure. An additional weight in scoring may be given to applicants within the local region, Northeast Connecticut / Windham County, prior successful work with the town of Thompson, or Mibby Wibby Dibby status. So that is what I finally got around to slapping together today. Does anybody want to go over any of that? Make any changes, comments? What do you got?
Sounds very thorough to me.
Yeah, I read it over this afternoon and it looked, exactly what we want.
In the last paragraph, when you talk about extra credit awarded to people that are local, I think should include minority and women owned. Does it? I guess
It does.
It does.
That's
Okay,
that,
I
that's
missed it
that,
when it went
that's
by.
that Mibby Wibby Dibby.
Okay, I missed that when it went by, but yes, that's it. Thanks.
Anybody have any suggestions for changes or additions?
I don't think so, but what is the MBE, WBE?
So that's minority-owned business enterprise, women-owned business enterprise, disabled-owned business enterprise.
Gotcha.
Those are the fairly standard acronyms for those.
Okay. No, I think it looks great. Good job. Thank you.
Get it off.
Okay, if you guys are happy, I will give it to Marie to ask her to post for tomorrow or Friday. So, and actually, what just occurred to me as we were reading through it, I put down this deadline of 2 o'clock on Friday the 14th. I forgot I'm going to be out of the office this day because Chris is having his second hip replaced on Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
So, so with your agreement, I will switch that to the following Monday.
Oh, yeah, whatever's convenient for you is,
Well, you guys also need to have enough time to read it before your meeting, and that would only give you 2 days to read it ahead of your meeting.
But is that a holiday, the 17th? The 17th is,
no,
President.
oh, is that a holiday though?
Is the 17th the President's
Yeah,
Day holiday?
that's the President's Day, so I don't know if the town hall is closed, but there's no post office on that day.
Town hall would probably be closed then.
Yeah, well, I am asking for email only, so I can do it then Thursday the
Yeah.
13th.
Okay,
So I'll do before 4 p.m. on Thursday, 13 February. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I will be
Of course not.
ferrying Chris to his next surgery that day.
well, I hope it goes as well as the first one, that's all.
Oh, I'm sure it will. This guy who did his last hip, we have a number of other volleyball friends who've used this same surgeon. The guy does like 10 of them a day.
Yeah. My
Wow.
second one was easier than the first one, that's for sure.
Was it easier?
Yeah, I mean, my first one was the right side, it's my dominant side, so I think that's part of it. And then just being experienced and knowing what to expect.
Yeah, well, that's what we're figuring too. Anyway, that's tangential and definitely not on your agenda. But so all right, so I'll just adjust that so that it's Thursday the 13th. It's kind of a tight turn. It's like 3.5 weeks.
Time?
But I think that's okay. We're not asking for the sealed bids because the budget threshold is, it's the $10,000 that you have put aside for the rest of this fiscal year. So email's okay. I will send it, as I indicated in my email earlier today, to that handful of vendors that we already know and have some prior relationship with. And then
Yeah.
obviously it will also be posted for others. I mean, you guys will recall every time we've posted, even for these low dollar amount campaigns, we've had proposals coming in from all over the country, which I always find a little weird considering the dollar amount at stake. But so I would expect we'd see the same.
Yeah.
Sarah, can I ask, well, do you think a month is enough time?
We
That's
can always opt to post again or extend. I will tell you the part of the reason I wanted to get this taken care of by the February meeting is because I'm going to be going in the day after the February meeting to talk about the next fiscal year budget. So in a perfect world, if we are working on it, I would like to have those proposals in hand. So if they're exceeding what our current allotted budget is in this fiscal year, we would have a basis for adjusting those budget requests to move forward into next fiscal year. Because what we've talked about, and as far as I know, is still going to be our plan, is that this is going to be an ongoing year-over-year expense. And the way I've constructed this is just that. It's somebody who's doing this work, doing the maintenance, doing the updates on contract.
Well, I just don't know if such a short period of time will limit the amount of people who send in bids. Right?
It may, and like I say, if we get them and we don't like them, we're not comfortable with what we've received, we can repost, and then I don't have that information realistically going into that
Right.
budget discussion, but there's no penalty for reposting. It just means that I don't have as much information as I'd like for the other thing.
I think you would at least have enough information to show that we are underestimating the cost. If you don't get enough to make a decision by the budget meetings.
Yeah,
I
I was
also
thinking
think
that
that
too.
as long as you send it out first to those same people that have responded and are familiar with it, as well as posting it, we should be able to accomplish. How did they get the word of it the last time? I mean, we did get a good response. How did they find out about it? Just the town's website or?
No, when we post bids, obviously it does go on the town's website. And it also gets posted to the state procurement site.
Okay.
And that is absolutely where all of the out-of-state vendors are seeing it. They probably have staff who are regularly checking for requests for proposals all across the country.
Yeah. Probably easy to get the programmers to look for them. If they sell it, they get it, they get the money, they do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, but that is a good point, Charlie. Even if we don't get the bid that we want and we go back out to bid, having anything in hand will give us some information going into the budget discussion.
Yeah, probably enough to make definitive claims.
Yeah.
The results should be pretty easy to see.
Okay, I mean, if you guys are happy with this and you don't have any other edits, I'm perfectly fine with this.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of words underlined on my word processor and I don't, I know
You
when I
probably
go
have
to.
you've got the red line.
No, they're being underlined like there's misspacing or right where your arrow is now where it says
Yeah.
will promote.
I was gonna ask that too. Why is
That's a
will
grammar
promote?
thing. That's a grammar thing. See, it should be will promote. Now, when
There
I'm
wa-
writing
There
something,
was
I
an
always
extra
open it up.
space.
When I'm
Oh.
writing something, I always open it up in a different word processor because it really spots things like that.
Part of it is spacing, Charlie, because she took out the edits.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. They're simple things, but if she's going to post it, she probably wants to make it everyone's.
What program is this? Microsoft?
Word.
Yeah, it's Word.
No, I don't have Word on my computer, so I'm lost. I can't even create a document, so.
Oh,
Um,
well, Word is
I'm a-
pretty easy to use, and so is the what's the
Well, it
thing
would
called?
be, but I guess you gotta pay for it.
Google.
Not on my-
Word you have to pay for, but there's free software. My son installed it works just like Word. Essentially, it works like the older version of Word.
Google Docs.
So for
No,
whatever
it's
it's
not
worth,
Google.
Joanne, for whatever it's worth, Joanne, I also
Yep.
do not have Word or any Microsoft Office products installed on my personal laptop, which is what I'm using. I have this
Yeah.
opened in Word Online. So
Yeah.
you
Oh.
can use it free online if you ever need to do a document, just since we're discussing it.
Yeah, terrific, thank you.
No. There's something called LibreOffice, and it's free. You can download it for free, and it has a word processor, a spreadsheet, and PowerPoint kind of programs that work almost identical to Microsoft, and it's free.
I like free. Just wanna write a letter. I can't even do that, so, thank you.
Okay. Well, so the RFP was the big deal for this meeting.
Hmm?
The getting through the RFP and accepting it was uh, a main topic for this meeting as part of the marketing piece
Thought
of
you
the
guys might
agenda.
have more comment.
Well, you did
No.
a really
You
good
know-
job. Like I said, I read it this afternoon and it was impressive.
Don't doubt yourself, Terry, you did a good job. You know what you're doing, you've done this a million times, so.
Well, I want you guys, it's not that I doubt my own skills at writing. It's that I want to be sure I'm capturing what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I
So
think that's what,
I'm
as I said,
projecting into you.
it sounded familiar because it's what we wanted to accomplish. We talked about it before. And I understand how you have to get the certain steps in order for the grant processes to work, but it is what we wanted. So sure, why not?
Hmm.
Let's see if we can make it happen. If we need to ask for more money from the town to make it happen, it comes back. It will come back. It's not like gold-plated parking meters.
Yeah, at least we'd have justification. And, they'll cut whatever they want to cut or have to cut, but we'll be able to justify the ask.
True.
So that
Part of why
covers,
we're justifying it is we really should point out the fact that the mill rates and the property usage in town has increased because of our focused efforts, and we want to keep it going. But we really should claim credit for all the stuff that's happened in the last 10 years. It's made a big difference in how this town can move forward. Still a lot to do, but we better claim it if we're going to get more money.
yeah, it would help us more if the slow moving projects like St. Joseph's and 929, and if people could actually see some
Yeah.
progress. Because I go all over town and even the last 2 months, telling people, yes, the mill still is a project. Yes, St. Joseph's um, uh, apartments are still coming. Um, yeah, no matter how we try to highlight it, people are still asking. They think we're not doing anything.
Yep.
Um,
But the Board
so
of Finance should know. The Board of Finance is not the typical guy that mows his lawn and just lives in the house and works somewhere else. The Board of Finance knows what's happening in this town.
yeah, but it's the regular. Even when I go to the transfer station, even the men who work for the town, what's going on with the mill. So and I've never seen any of them at the meetings
Right.
for the mill or Main Street or anything. So it's up to us to tell them, apparently.
Yeah, there was a guy at my last MISRAC meeting who didn't know anything about the mill. He thought we should just create some kind of commercial zone there and make a manufacturing plant. But Terry, you graciously corrected him.
It was a challenging morning.
Oh, it was, and you did a great job in your explanation. It's like, where has this guy been for the past 5 years?
Well, he's
But,
not alone, Joe.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know how people in town I don't know where they get all their news from. Maybe we need to use that what's that sign in front of the town hall, the electronic sign. Maybe we need to throw an update up there once in a while. Okay, the mill is still, in the process. Or I don't know.
Joanne's right, but I think the best way to do that is to schedule an update meeting and post that.
Yeah, but we've
know,
done that, and 20 people show up.
Yeah, we've
Well-
done it, and the people we're talking to have not gone to the meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, what our audience, when we're talking about our costs to operate, is the finance board first.
Correct.
If they approve it, if they put it in the budget, then it goes out to the town and they decide whether or not we decide whether or not it's going to be approved.
Well,
And
I
if we're apathetic, we deserve what we get.
I will say that the current Board of Finance, for the most part, is more engaged than some of the past iterations. I mean, some people who are, longstanding members. But I think they are in general more aware of some of the initiatives that are going on throughout the town, not just that EDC or Trails or my office are handling, but throughout, because I think they've made a point of it. But they still, because they don't touch on it every day, need the reminders, and that's what the budget season is about.
Good point.
And I think it's easier for me to make some arguments on your behalf. Some arguments will always be a challenge, and we're also still fundamentally always challenged by the fact that, despite all of the groundwork that we have done, and the things that we have accomplished, I say it all the time, it takes 5 minutes to destroy something. And now, 20, 30, 40, 50 years on, it's still complicated to undo those consequences, and not quick moving, and a lot of it not particularly visible to somebody who's not on the inside of it. For example, St. Joseph's School, the last time I talked to the developer was, I don't know, late November, early December. And they had already gone out to bid for construction, but they weren't getting the bids they wanted. So they were going out again. And his estimate was maybe March of this year, but will they have gotten those bids? I don't know. I haven't followed up with them again. In the meantime, the piece that I working on with the town's attorney is the assessment incentive for the rehabilitation of the property. Probably have that soon. And the one piece may not hinge on the other, but I know ideally we want to have that in place, or he wants to have that in place before they actually break ground. But they own the building, they're paying the taxes on it, and they will renovate it. But quite frankly, on their own schedule, as it makes sense for them as a business concern. And that may or may not intersect with when the town wants it to be done exactly. I would love it to be done yesterday too, because it makes my job with the public easier.
A point then, and you touched on it from the side a couple of times. Could we put a cover letter on our request for budget that says Thompson EDC has accomplished this or been instrumental in that or encouraged this, and like selling points right at the front, bullet points, just one page of it. It's really, if nothing, in the simplest form, it's kind of Chira's successful projects. If we list those and say, but now we need to bring more talent in than we have, and especially if we find out that we're not getting them for the amount of money that we thought when we put in last year's budget request.
Well, I think that's part of what Yacino, I mean, I'm the main presenter on these budgets. I have been since I came on, but Yacino is the chair of this commission. And we should be making that presentation together. I'm pretty sure, Brian, that I sent you this afternoon that time frame, and Amy said we were going to go first on that day, so it would be 6 o'clock on the 20th. So that should absolutely be a tag team effort.
Okay, yeah.
6 p.m. on what day? February?
Yeah, the 20th.
20th, the day after the EDC meeting.
Thank you.
Making a note. And you said 6 o'clock, huh?
Yes. And I presume that will be online.
Oh,
Actually, Amy's on. Amy, those are going to be online meetings?
Sorry, I was trying to mute myself. They are both. They'll be in person and you'll be able to zoom in.
Okay,
In person in the Cine room.
right.
okay, we'll talk. Okay. So anyway, that covers the agenda.
Okay.
Well, unless Amy has some citizen comments.
Yeah, I was getting, well, I just said it covers the agenda. I was getting to the comments because we also have commission member comments. So yeah, Amy, do you have any Amy comments?
I do not have any Amy comments, but thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Do we have any commission member comments?
I have one. I guess it's an update, or I don't know where it could have fit, but the registration is out for the 6th running of the Natchog Epic. It's March 23rd. This year I noticed that they have something that they call a youth ride, a 10-mile loop around the tri-state marker area. Really interested in that. And before the meeting started, I mentioned that the Wyndham Land Trust is spearheading a project to map out the some suggested bicycling routes, hiking routes, and equestrian routes, including land that the Wyndham Land Trust owns, that the state of Connecticut owns, that Rhode Island DEM owns, and that Massachusetts State Park, Douglas State Park, to bring that whole area in. It is already a key attraction. The train wreck park will increase that, and additional recreational opportunities are falling in place pretty quickly. So mark your calendars for the March 23rd. It should be getting really good. And I think that the 10-mile thing will be a separate event the day before. Because last year they started doing things the day before and they did them in Putnam. And I think that I don't have the details yet. I just thought about it and looked it up and saw it on the website. So update, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll bring that up as an update at the next TBA meeting to the Netchog Epic.
We might want to start talking that up when Tira goes on the radio station. If she has opportunities to talk about tourism things that are going on in the town earlier rather than later. We should be trying to figure out how to sell the unused B&B rooms in the town because there's certainly more people coming in and they don't mind paying a lot of money. They pay more for bicycles than I have for some cars.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Do we have any other commission member comments? Extra suggestions for the February agenda? All right. I mean, if we're all good,
Well, I would make a point, Lynn, of under the marketing bullet item, just make it specifically review of proposals on the marketing RFP.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna put that it was reviewed and approved and will be posted, you know.
Very good.
okay, thank you, Lynn. We'll
Good
make
night.
Joanne happy.
Stay-
We'll close 7 minutes early.
Wow.
Just for you, Joe. We'll
Thanks.
call it at 7:53.
Okay, great. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.